Yeah, check those out. And yeah, yeah, listen, brother, check. What's up, good people? Having a little difficulty here, you know. Waiting on my co-host, so hopefully he shows up today. I'm just gonna get it started, myself today. They say they can't stop me. They can't stop me. I'ma go hard. They can't stop me. My summer mind, y'all. You tell them haters trying to break me down. I love it when you turn my crown upside down. They can't stop me. I'ma go hard. They can't stop me. My summer mind, y'all. You can do what you wanna do as long as you got dreams to go for. They say they can't stop me. They can't stop me. I'ma go hard. They can't stop me. My summer mind, y'all. You tell them haters trying to break me down. I love it when you turn my crown upside down. They can't stop me. I'ma go hard. They can't. All right, welcome, good people. Welcome to Live at 5. I'm your man SRD, and today I'm flying solo for right now. Hopefully, as I said, my partner comes through. Uh, so now, want to go over a few things of what we were talking about, and basically, we were talking about the whole black situation, and there's a few things that I want to let you guys listen to, and give me your thoughts about. All right, the whole thing about. Let's go with this right here, as far as the ladies. Sympathy for black men. There's no sympathy for black men. You don't even love black men. You don't even know who we are. You don't give a fuck about us. Pay my bills, eat my ass, and that's it. It's important that black men understand what was done to us and why it was done to us. It's also important that black women understand their position in systematic racism and how they're being utilized to destroy their whole family and their whole community and whole generation. Now, a black man's role is to be the protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer, and leader. I'm a man regardless. Protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer. You have your opinion, I have mine. How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. So when you're around an alpha and you're around you in that frequency, right? If man, right? And that energy, that frequency, right? It can throw some shit off. Because you're conditioned not to even be around that shit. You're very sensitive to that energy, and then now you don't know how to read that energy. You think he's narcissistic. You think, no, he's what he needs to be to take his place. He's informing that black man that, yo, look, you get your provision. You're going to be the provider. You're going to be the head of this household. And the last phase of love is tough love, accountability. The problem is a lot of our women are conditioned to lead with the accountability first. And they don't set the table with informative love and unconditional love. Let her go. No empathy. There's no sympathy. Okay, so you heard what the young brother said. The brother said, basically, as a black man, we don't even get respect from the black women. And, I'm a little different when it comes to now, I should say. The whole racism thing, to me, I look at it
as a ploy. I look at it as something, as a distraction to distract us from the real, true reason of why we, as a people, have been treated the way we've been treated and continue to be treated the way we are treated, based on the psychology of blackness and upholding the blackness. Now, don't get me wrong, there are individuals who make black look good. However, as a collective, we're still losing. We're still losing with the black. So for me, why wouldn't we take a chance on changing the dynamics of who we choose to call ourselves based on an emotional connection, an emotional tie, which causes us to make a lot of decisions based on emotions, such as religion, choosing a religion, and being loyal to that religion because of how it makes you feel. And once you have chosen something and it's based on emotions, 9 out of 10 times your emotion is going to change. So once you make a decision and that emotion change, what happens with the decision? And I say that to say, look, I'm no different than any of you. Matter of fact, I felt like most of you do when it comes to acknowledging black as our culture. And we hear black excellence, we hear black culture runs the world. If black culture runs the world, how come those of us who acknowledge ourselves as black, the majority of us, are under the poverty level, or at best middle class? If black culture run the world, then why aren't we running the world if our culture runs the world? How come we have so many complaints about what America doesn't allow us to do? Now, what other people really have as many gripes as black people when it comes to how we look at our social and economic conditions, and as well as our political conditions? We speak about lack of lack of both parents being in the house. We speak about lack of unity. We speak about lack of self-control. And we also speak about, as what I was playing earlier, where the men and the women are unable to see eye to eye and be able to work together as a unit. And until that's able to happen, where do we end up at the end of the day? And many of us, many of you, as I was, still hold on to why we have to let black go. My co-host often says individuals have to be influenced. And it's sad when you, as a black person, have to be influenced to do something that is good for you, do something that's going to make a better situation for you and your families and upcoming generations. I mean, look at what we're subscribing to. And let me get back to the religion. When we look at religion, let's go to Christianity. How is it that those of us who acknowledge ourselves as Black are able to look at Jesus, whom most of us have seen as identifying as what we would call white, and we say that's many of that's the Savior. So if we're looking at Jesus as our Savior, and he and that's an individual that was given to us by the very people who supposedly enslaved our ancestors, and they gave us that religion, and we are, many of us, I should say, or many of you will fight tooth and nail and say the color doesn't matter. His skin complexion don't matter. And if his skin complexion don't matter, then how do you scream racism and discrimination when it comes to other types of things, other aspects of your life? But when it comes to who you choose to worship, it doesn't matter. I mean, does that make rational sense, or is it just an emotional connection? When what if Jesus was made in the complexion of you and I? Now, do you think those who identify as white would be saying the same thing? That, oh, color doesn't matter, his complexion doesn't matter. And because of how America has played the race game, along with the government, promoting it, it makes a heck of a difference, because it puts one people above another people, and it makes one people look to another people for safety or security or to look up at. And when you're looking up to a people that's outside of yourself as your savior, it messes with you as an individual, that you're not capable of saving yourself. And a lot of things that happens to us is psychological. It's a lot of psychological and emotional damage that's been done to the Black people. And how do you get out of it? How do we actually move beyond that psychological and emotional damage through making so that it can make sense for us, and it can make political strength, economic growth, and those type of things. Like, where are we when it comes to our politics? We're still voting for a president based on who is the best of the worst. You know what I mean? Where you're not really choosing a president based on who's going to be the best for us as a people. You're choosing a president because you don't want the other guy to win. And how does that really play out? And what sense does that really make when you come in from an intelligent people whom have the ability to rule the world, and whom have ruled the world for thousands of years, to be reduced to just individuals whom are top entertainers and top athletes? This type of information, well, let me put it this way. This type of identity crisis is what makes me and what helps me to be more determined with getting individuals to understand that why do we have to hold on to something that is stunting our growth? And even if you would like to hold on to calling yourself Black, then it's your choice. You have a right to call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. But how many of you are really concerned about the future of us as a people? And don't get me wrong, white is just as much damaged. People who identify with white is just as damaged as many of us who go by the name of Black. And it's a separation of humanity to keep the government being able to do the bidding of those rich, wealthy individuals that dominate and keep power over the masses. And if we continue to allow that to happen, then we're really truly to blame, because once we know what we're doing and why we are doing what we're doing, then we have an opportunity to make a change. We have an opportunity to do better. It bothers me when I look at us as a people and even humanity, even fallen humanity, because when we look at the way the world is going, often Big Mo's, my co-host, talk about the world, other countries, and the wars and things that's going on with the wars. Who are who is actually in control over the world right now? Who would you say is responsible for the conditions of the world right now? Who is considered the leaders of the world, and what nationality do they claim? And it's about, really, for me, it's about making what's wrong right, or what is unhealthy healthy. Because at the end of the day, I love all people. However, what I do see is that we, as those of us who acknowledge ourselves as African Americans or Black, we are struggling the most. We are the ones who have the most discrepancies with the way things are going. And when you look at the way things are going, let me pause right there and let me play something else.
People think that reason why you see people dressed world we're in, I've noticed a pattern in what is being represented. People think that this stuff is just a game. There is a reason why you see people dressed up as Satan. Not just, like Satan slipping himself in a little bit. No, full on visuals of Satan, people dressed as Satan, dressed as a demon, got upside down crosses all on their clothes or pentagrams on their clothes. And people are just like, oh, that's funny. It's, we're making fun. No, there's a reason why the entertainment industry is doing that, y'all. They know good and doggone well that God exists. They also know that Satan exists. They're just counting on the fact that y'all don't know that. But either way, the things that you take in, that they're feeding you, those things affect you. Whether you realize it in the moment or not, they affect you. That's why they do it. Entertainment industry, it's about influence. Dark world we're in.
Now, the young lady is speaking about the entertainment. And the entertainment is one of the greatest influences on whom? Whom do it influence the most? At the end of the day, when it comes to individuals getting murdered, who getting murdered when it comes to entertainment? Are people who identify with white getting murdered? Are rock stars or rappers who identify with white getting murdered? Or are those getting murdered identify with black? And are those who are getting murdered being more influenced in a negative way, as the young lady said, where the demon time, devil time, where instead of being on God time or righteous time or upliftment time, we're functioning on a lower level of self. Many individuals are functioning on a lower level of self. We're not gonna. I want to be correct with what I'm saying. There's a lot of individuals who are focusing on their lower levels, and their lower levels are causing hardship on individuals who are trying to focus on a higher level because of the energy that's being put out there from those individuals. It's difficult when you have a people whom you love, whom you are a part of, that you want to see the best for, and they allow themselves to be influenced by most of the stuff that is no good for them. Most of the stuff that's going to cause them hardship. Most of the stuff that is going to keep them binded and keep them from moving forward. We have an ability to change everything that needs to be changed within ourselves, but we have to, as I said yesterday, be ready and willing. And if we're not willing to put the work in and ready to really look at ourselves and look at what has been done to us and why it's been done, the true reason of why it's been done to us, it's about identity theft. It's about taking a people's identity and replacing their identity with an identity that someone else get to make it up. Someone else get to create who you are. Someone else get to create and determine how you're going to react. And that's what's happening to us who acknowledge ourselves as black. You can get angry, you can say I'm wrong, that's okay. But when you look around and you look at how much we complain and how much we talk about what's not right within our community, then it speaks for itself. And my co-host says, being black is not the problem. I beg to differ. I'm not saying that it's the main entire problem, but what I am saying is that it's a part of the problem, because when we were talking yesterday, he and I was saying that we're able to put together our own government, to reestablish our own government. Where do you think this government was created from? This government was created from our original government. So if that's the case, then we have the ability to reestablish our government in a form where we will be able to function on a level where we protect us. And mind you, the thing is, it's not a point of us being in a situation where we have to be subordinate to another country. It's about us being in a position where we're able to take care of ourselves as well as be an example to humanity. And to be honest, we don't need to build what we are striving to build, and it's a cultural revolution as well as a revolution for humanity to uplift fallen humanity. This thing that I'm talking about is not a joke. This thing that I'm talking about is serious. This thing that I'm talking about is necessary for the growth of humanity, the growth of the world. It just happens to be that we would be the people who are controlling the dominant government. It's not about, you know, us being over the Europeans or anything of that nature. What it's about is correcting what was meant to be and aligning with what's supposed to be rather than being in a position where things is out of order. We already see that things is out of order. Things is not working the way many of us believe it should be working, or many of us beyond belief know it should be working. We know that there's something wrong. Millions of us know that there's something wrong. We know that the way that things are moving, it's not moving in the manner that is conducive for humanity to grow. It's being moved in a way that certain people get to be over other people, and then there's a lot of misery, pain, heartache, and crime, and as well as emotional and spiritual sickness. A lot of things that we are getting confused, thinking it's basically mental illness. A lot of it is spiritually. We've been we've been dismantled spiritually. Our inner being is under attack, and we don't even realize it, many of us. And it's time for us to realize that who we are and what we are is greater than what the world sees. And we have to realize that, and we have to move beyond what we've been doing. And it is gonna be difficult. It's definitely gonna be difficult. It's not gonna be easy, and it's gonna take some commitment. It's gonna take some change. It's gonna take some heartaches. It's gonna take some pain. But it can be done. And it only is gonna be done by those of us or those of you who see the significance in making the necessary changes within yourself daily. It's a daily process. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. We didn't get to where we at overnight. We got to where we at over years and years and years of lies, discontentment, you know, all other types of things that caused us to become who we are. And the only way we're going to be free of that is it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take growth. It's going to take one thing, letting go some old ways of thinking. Some of our ways of thinking, we're going to have to let go. Some things that we are comfortable with, that we like to do, we're going to have to cease to do it or do it less. Ultimately, let's look at it this way. Let's look at an individual who wants to be rich, and you want to be rich, but you're spending your money on things that won't make you rich. You're spending your money on name brand clothes, name brand sneakers, big cars, things of that nature, but you want to be rich. So things of that nature, we would have to change. We talk about we struggle with certain things, but then there's certain actions that go against what we're talking about. And when we're doing that to ourselves, we're doing ourselves a disservice. We're doing ourselves a disservice because we're not allowing ourselves to evolve beyond where we have been. We're looking backwards instead of focusing on looking forward, as well as focusing on the future. We really are a champion without any opponent, but we've been convinced that those who identify as white is our superior opponent, and they're not. Many of them are just as much victims as we are. They've been hoodwinked too. So at the end of the day, it's about us taking care of what we need to do. As I said, starting individually, starting within, because there's so many individuals who are dealing with our emotional state, how we feel about a situation. How we feel about a situation matters in certain situations. In certain situations, feelings don't matter. When we look at the power structure is not basing its movement on how we feel. It's not saying, oh, the people don't feel a certain way, so we're going to stop doing this. No, it's not based on that. So, what is based on is our inner selves, power within itself. There's so many outside powers that we allow to discombobulate us spiritually. And we have to be willing and ready and determined, self determination, self determined to supersede all adversity that is being thrown in front of us. We have to, it's to our benefit. I want to try to stop using the word have to, because that was a word that when I was younger, I didn't like to be used. So bear with me. I'm going to work on finding a word other than you have to. You have a choice to choose to do better. You have a choice to choose whether you want to continue to stay in the conditions you are, or you want to see yourselves, your children, your family members, as well as the entire people that you identify with grow beyond where we at. This is a choice, people. We have a choice to do better. We have a choice to be beacons of light, or we have a choice to be beacons of darkness. Which will you choose? Which one will you choose? And before you choose it, weigh out what will be best for you. Weigh out what benefits of whatever you choose will bring you, and long-term benefits as well as short-term benefits. And let's start looking for answers for not just today, not just tomorrow, but 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and beyond. We have the ability to think that far ahead. However, we must, for our sake, rearrange how we look at life, how we look at each other, and how we feel towards each other. Start working on, you know, things that could make us better. And with that, I'm going to pause again and I'm going to play something else for you.
born in this world, this has repeated every day. Sunrise, sun goes down. So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Our heart, the same. Sucking the blood, pumping the blood, also the same. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure. It's just that this world is not propagating failure to you. It is propagating success to you. So realizing this, really understanding, it's not just about up. It's not just about taking. It's about taking and giving. It's about relaxing and doing. It's about exchange. It's about constant exchange with you, your peers, with people around you, with the world. It's about exchange, because exchange means there is a change. There's constantly happening some transformation. And this is what out there, this is what everything is built upon. Since we are born in this world.
Now, what the brother was saying, and when I say brother, I mean we all share the same earth, the same mother, Mother Earth. So we all brothers and sisters. Even though we come from different tribes, different backgrounds, different cultures, we're still brothers and sisters. That's my view. I don't dislike any ethnicity because of who they are or what they represent. What I dislike is actions from individuals, be it ethnicity or personal individuals. I dislike the actions. So that's what I focus on, the actions, where the brother said, change it, exchange. There's up, down, right, wrong, good, bad, happy, sad. There's a 50-50. There's a tug of war between each of us. We each have a tug of war within ourselves to do better or not, to grow or not, to stay the same or not. We all have that struggle within ourselves. Our biggest and most greatest battle is within ourselves. And once we, as individuals, are able to focus and start looking within, more so than we're pointing our fingers at other people and talking about what other people are not doing or can't do or won't do, the more we start looking within, the better things are going to be around us. The better things are going to be when it comes to being attracted towards us. We, as a human race, need to do better. As a human species, need to do better because every person who identifies with black is not good. Every person who identifies with white is not bad. And every person who identifies with white is not good, nor is every person who identifies with black is not bad. You know, and there are good and bad in both all people. There's good and bad in all people. And what we're looking to do is to be able to recognize and point out when each other is doing something that is harmful to others, harmful to yourselves. This is what the goal is, to be able to grow beyond the selfishness to being selfless and being able to give of yourself to make the world and your surroundings a better place. This is the struggle This is the divine way of moving, to be able to move beyond just yourself and be able to give to others. And before I end, I want to go back to the Christian thing of the theology behind Jesus, of being able to give your life for the well-being of others. How many of you who acknowledge yourselves as Christians are willing to give your life or change your life for the sake of mankind, for the sake of the people that you identify with? How many of you are willing to do that? With that being said, I wish you all love, peace, and happiness.